president said today?
Well, the story continues to emerge in Afghanistan, and I think the president, Frank, is trying to stay out in front of it as best he can. The American public is not pleased with the optics of what's going on in Afghanistan and what's occurring on the ground there.
Brian, I hate to say this, but it almost feels like after 20 years and $1 trillion spent that we're practically begging the Taliban to let us save Americans and Afghanis who want to leave Afghanistan. We're the most powerful country in the world. What happened?
It's the fact that we're ceding anything to the Taliban should be troubling to Americans. And yet, if you think about it, the Taliban are in control of Kabul, and the airport we're in control of to get people through their checkpoints. One supposes that there has to be a lot of back channeling, Frank, with the Taliban to make sure that Americans and others who are trying to get to the airport can get to the airport. But it should be really bothersome to the American public. We are the United States of America, and we should be able to be in control of this situation.
Brian, we're already starting to see some signs of resistance in Afghanistan against the Taliban. Where do you see this country in 6 months or a year? Is it going to implode just like Iraq after we invaded there?
The Taliban don't really have a plan for how to govern and how to work in an international setting. But I think over the next 6 months, I think there is going to be repression on a wide scale. The Taliban are going to take people who have assisted not just the United States, but NATO countries in all different ways, and they are going to exact a revenge, and it's not going to be something the world's going to want to see at all. I think it's going to be very messy, Frank, for the next few months, maybe the next years, because the Taliban are not a democratic government by any stretch of the imagination.
Brian, is it absolutely imperative that the United States live up to what its obligations are here and not only evacuate all Americans, but also all of the Afghanis who worked side by side with our Americans as translators and whatnot, and make sure that they get out of the country just as safely as our Americans get out as safely as well? Otherwise, it just feels like we're going to completely lose credibility around the world.
The simple answer is yes. We have to make this evacuation work. We have to bring out American citizens. We have to bring out the Afghanis who helped in so many ways over 20 years. And then we've got to turn our attention to this human rights crisis, Frank, that will be on a scale we haven't seen in so long, certainly in Afghanistan, where women and children, young girls particularly, are going to find themselves in a place they have never in many of their lives known. No education, no professional work, going back 2-3 decades with the Taliban, and it's kind of like a reset here, Frank, and it should be disturbing to everybody around the world.
Well, I know I have 2 daughters, and when you think about what could happen to all of the women and the young girls especially over in Afghanistan under Taliban rule, it's just frightening.
It is, and gut-wrenching.
Yeah. Brian, we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us tonight. Thanks so much.
Absolutely, Frank.
Well, a lot of Bay Area students have rapper Mr. Fab to thank tonight.